like 2014, everyone kept asking me like, hey, how did you do $31 million of business when you were 24 years old in a state you knew nobody in 2011? So I just said, you know what? Let me share this. Maybe this could help people in this new loan officer group, and hopefully it can inspire people. Well, next thing you know, there's hundreds of likes, comments, and everything else. People like private messaging me. So I put this call together. I'm actually going to do it every Wednesday. And I purposely picked Wednesday at noon. That's why it's called Zoom at noon. As you know, I have a big football background. And they always say, if you wait till halftime to make an adjustment, it's too late, right? You might already be blown out of the water. So I think an accountability, kind of camaraderie, locker room call, educational call every Wednesday at noon can keep all of us, especially in this whole new COVID resurgence, kind of accountable and kind of feeling good and kind of remotivated to finish the week. Everyone gets motivated on Monday, maybe Tuesday. Time Wednesday, hump day comes, people usually try and fall off and start thinking about the weekend. So what can we do for the remaining 60 hours, let's call it, that we're awake to really capitalize on, you know, what the market entails? So we are going to go ahead and get started. Hey, Cam, I see you. Sorry, I muted myself. Cam, how are you? So I see you just joined. Thanks for hopping on the call. So what I want to do is I want to just go down the list that I created real quick. And Darren, I'm not sure if you have this, but basically, you know, we're going to start off with the consistency of routine, right? I believe that, you know, 90% of this business, like anything, is showing up. So if you just show up, hey, Felicia, how are you? Shout out real quick. Consistency of routine isn't just, you know, hey, I woke up every day at 9, I worked, and I went to bed at 10. Consistency of routine is, hey, I woke up with a plan of what I was going to do and accomplish. Now, we know routine is very challenging in this business because a lot of people like to throw monkey wrenches in our plans. You might think you're going out for lunch, but meanwhile, you have an issue with an appraisal you have to handle, or a borrower changed his job and didn't tell you, or, hey, you're going to meet your client, they got COVID last minute, now you're an hour away from your house. Like, what do I do, right? What I've found to be the most impactful for me, especially now after looking back at these, what I did a decade ago, was my most consistent routine happens between 5:30 in the morning and 8 a.m., right? Because that's what I can control. That's what I can handle. And more often than not, no one's contacting you really before 7 a.m. these days. And if they do, it's an email from the night before. So I really want people to start focusing on what you do before work from a routine standpoint, because that will continue the momentum for the rest of the day. Once you feel like you've accomplished your morning routine without any disruptions, distractions, or anything that you can't control, you're automatically going to feel more in control of the day and attack the day with confidence. Number 2 got a lot of feedback, investing in other businesses. So I didn't really mean to invest in other businesses. I just didn't know how to say no. I don't think I knew how to say no until I was like 30 years old. But for the first 10 years of my career, I said yes to everybody because I didn't know right from wrong as far as...
Hey, how old are your kids, Jeff?
Say that again?
How old are your kids?
My son's only 3. I only have 1, thank God. One's more than enough.
Okay, gotcha.
I tell him no often, but he tells me no more, I think. But so I opened up a Liberty Tax franchise as an opportunity from a referral source that I had done 2 deals for. I actually closed 2 of my first 10 deals on non-warrantable condos in the South Bronx. And they were the toughest deals I've ever done in my life to a trust fund baby from Canada. And it was just crazy. And the guy I helped out was a developer and was also a tax accountant. And he had 1,000 clients in my marketplace. So he had asked me like, hey, look, I really just took a beating, you know, from the market downturn. I lost a ton of money. I have no money. You know, would you mind investing in a tax franchise with me? And I saw it being a win-win because we already had a relationship. We already had done deals together. And what I actually set up was, okay, every single person that comes in that has income over $70,000 and no mortgage interest deduction, let's qualify them to be a first-time home buyer. And the tax business really proved to be a qualifying business from a referral standpoint because you see how much money they make. You see if they already own properties or not, right? And usually people in working areas, not self-employed areas, get, you know, $8,000 to $15,000 tax refunds. So we actually instilled a program where you could use your tax refund to funnel your FHA loan with the down payment money. So if you're getting $9,000 back, 3.5% down, that puts you at, let's just call it a $250,000 or so home at the time in 2008, 9, and 10, and 11. Those still existed in most markets, right? And people loved it because it was just an ancillary business where we can get in front of someone and help them achieve something they didn't know they knew how to achieve. And that then, funneled into, we opened up a Remax franchise. We flew out to Colorado. So now I own 2 Liberty Tax. This is all at 23, 24 years old. We own 2 Liberty Tax franchises and a Remax franchise where I would rip 40 to 60 deals just out of those locations every year. For about 5 years, I did that. And, I even bought a mixed use property where I lived on top. I was a single guy, mid-20s. I lived in my building and my businesses were under it, which was absolutely a blessing. I could just walk downstairs and be in my office and then walk upstairs at the end of the day. Number 3 on the list, casting a wide net. I can't tell you how critical it is in today's market, more so now than it was a decade ago. You need to try and find a way to get your message across to every single person. And with social media between Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, you have millions and millions of people at your fingertips, and it costs you nothing to post. Hey, Anthony, just saw you join. Hope all is well. And I think in today's world, people feel either gun shy or insecure or not confident in what they could post. If you guys go back and look at my posts from years ago, I'm really from 2016, 2017. I just posted what I was doing on a daily basis, whether I was in Harlem, New York City, whether I was in Brooklyn or the Bronx or the Jersey Shore, Pennsylvania or Connecticut or wherever I was. I would just post what I was doing. Hey, meeting a client for, an FHA 203K loan, or hey, just took this $3 million, penthouse application in Manhattan, and look at this place. And people really, really, really love following me. And part of, I guess, I experienced massive growth from working hard, but my generation, I'm 35 now, 10 years ago, they really weren't buying properties, right? They were basically looking for jobs coming out of the recession. So my following is just now starting to catch up. So everything that I did was organic. I had to figure out a way to, appeal to people and plant that seed. But people that follow you all along and follow your journey, when they are ready, they're going to contact you because they know you as the expert. So you have to be patient with the net you cast and understand that whether you get 1 view or 5,000 views, it's about the engagement and knowing that you're constantly dripping on them through a passive approach from an educational standpoint to get them to know that when they're ready, you're their person. Number 4, this is a little bit challenging in today's market. I understand that with COVID. I've gotten very big into these Zoom calls, and people actually request them now, which I thought was crazy. But hey, it is what it is, especially the younger generations, 40 and under. They want to see who they're dealing with. They want to talk to you. They want to see you. But I met every single one of my clients face-to-face and went to every single one of my closings from 2008 to 2013. And that's every single one. That's not like, oh, no, 95%. That's every single one. And whether it was in, a crazy, dangerous area in the Bronx or some luxurious area in Manhattan, I was there. And I just really was able to develop a rapport with the referral sources. You conduct yourself.
You had to, though, Jeff. Coming right out of the recession, dude, people wanted to see you. They wanted to know who they're dealing with right there. They didn't want to waste any time at that point.
They definitely want to know who they're dealing with. And again, I think because most mortgage professionals don't show up at the closing and wires are delayed and no one's responding, I kind of went there to meet everyone, to network. It was a free way to get in front of people that are involved in your profession. But I really went there to do damage control. And I learned as time had gone on, make sure you bring a sweet treat. Because even if your closing gets delayed, if everyone's sitting there drinking coffee or eating donuts, they're going to forget that, their time is being wasted for some reason that you can't control, whether, again, title couldn't do the balance, right? Or the wire hadn't hit yet, or whatever the case may be. It was always a great way to break the ice and get referrals out of it. I can't tell you how many attorneys sent me business, seller side attorneys, because they just liked the way we handled, our process. So it's super important. In today's world, Zoom, just implement that as much as possible. Be selective on who you actually go and meet face to face. I still personally attend every closing I do in my new lending business, not in my residential world anymore. It's just too much to manage. But as you're starting out, it's super important to go and solidify that relationship. And it's also one of my main selling points when I speak to somebody. Hey, I'm speaking to you now for the first time. Not only am I going to be here and sitting by your side at closing to make sure everything goes smoothly, I'm here as a resource for the rest of our lives. And people really take a liking to that, especially if you say it in a genuine fashion. Number 6, keeping my word, keeping your word. I never told somebody I could do a deal without 100% knowing I could do the deal. If I didn't know 100% why I may not be able to do a deal, I would put in writing to them in text and or email, hey, I'm telling you right now, I think we could do this deal, but here are the hurdles that we are going to face together. And if we accomplish these tasks accordingly, then we have the best chance of closing the deal. As you know, in today's market, a lot of people promise the world and then don't deliver and then disappear. And the next thing you know, hopefully you guys are going to be getting calls of, hey, I spoke to Bill at ABC Bank and he hasn't gotten back to me in 3 weeks. Yeah, because Bill can't do your deal. Let's figure out how we can do the deal. And just, if you can't do the deal, say you can't do the deal. If you think you're going to have a hard time doing the deal, just communicate that to all parties involved. People get excited, emotional, and aggressive. Just, you need to maintain your confidence and level of professionalism as to what any issues may be that are in your control, and also ones that may arise outside of your control, such as an underappraisal, obviously foundation issues, inspection issues. You can't control that, but what you can control, you need to let people know that you've got that buttoned up. Number 7, close the unthinkable deals with your brain. If you follow me on any of my social media, I really like marketing the deals that I close that are outside the box, whether it's, a 525 credit score, or doing a loan for someone with 15 judgments, or, someone recently out of bankruptcy, or closing an FHA deal in Florida in 9 days, which I just did. I don't spend money for marketing. I spend my resources branding deals that I do that I know will catch other people's attention, because no one else is either doing it or telling people they're doing it. And then those are the best ways that you get new relationships from people knowing you're a true professional inside of what you do.
Jeff, they never remember the rate. They always remember how you helped them. That's it. They never, oh yeah, he was the best. He got me, 275. It's never that. It's always like, he got me to closing in 7 days when this other guy couldn't. Or, the appraisal issue over another thing. But everything you're saying is dead on, man. It's just
very, very rare does somebody remember you for your rate you got them, unless you get them, a 2.25% rate, which only existed for like a 3-day window last year.
Yeah.
Number 8, mandating local appraisers to your deals. When I first started, I remember they would send outside market appraisers to do my deals, and values would come in short. So really quickly, I think within the first 90 days of me doing mortgages, I dug to the bottom of how to get this done. And I've been exclusive to my appraisal management company since 2008, which is unheard of. I've never sent the deal elsewhere. That's 14 years almost of dealing with the same contacts, same people, same relationships. And look, do I get involved in what appraiser gets the deal? No. But do they know that I'm probably their biggest cheerleader and walking billboard and referral source? Yes. So do they take care of me and get my deals done in 5 days when everyone else is at 7? Yes. Can they turn around an appraisal for me in 24 hours? Yes. You know why? Because I remain loyal to them, and I've never given them or put them in a position to put either their license on the line or to make them feel uncomfortable what my ask is. They're also very, very, very easy to work with when you rebut a value. Everybody has the opportunity to rebut a value or challenge a value in this market. It's just the way you go about it, and then the person that you ask, right? I think that people need to get more confident in that, and usually it's more on the management side. So if you're brand new, you may not know how to do this, but every company has a policy. But at the end of the day, the policy is really only as good as the people that are on the back end trying to help you make your deal work and make sense. Number 9, we touched on this a little bit earlier, building rapport with local attorneys. I also learned this lesson early on in 2010. If you don't know the majority of the attorneys in your marketplace, the attorneys are going to try, if they can, to refer your mutual clients to other lenders for every other reason, any other reason, right? Maybe they never heard of you. Maybe they are getting more legal business from another bank or another broker. So at least go and introduce yourselves to the major, 10 or 15 attorneys in your marketplace, because you don't care if they give you business. You care that they don't take business away from you that you've already earned and cultivated. And I had that happen to me. I still kind of have that happen to me in outside markets. First thing I do is pick up the phone and say, hey, like, I didn't try and, refer another attorney once they said they were working with you. You should not do the same to me. It's not your job as an attorney to get involved in the mortgage process. And it's not my job as a mortgage professional to get involved in the legal process. Everyone needs to stay in their lane. So you really need to go out and, again, meet the top 10 or 15 attorneys in your marketplace. And you might even get lucky and get business from them if you're good at what you do. Number 10, asking for favors. There's favors and then there's unrealistic, requests. Favors are, hey, I really need this underwritten today by 4:00. Here's why. Know when you can use that card. Hey, I really need to get this deal closed by Friday. Do you mind bumping this loan for the next one? Hey, I really need this appraisal report back by Tuesday, because, don't be afraid to ask for favors from title companies, insurance companies, lawyers, realtors. If you need comps on a refinance, for example, ask your realtors. Like, let them do the work and say, hey, if my client ever sells the property, I'm going to recommend them to use you to be a listing agent because, you helped us meet this value so the refinance qualifies, or whatever the case may be. Number 11, I've also learned this more so later in life than earlier in life is, you got to take full responsibility for closing your loans, and whatever it takes must be your mentality to close those loans. So again, 2008, 2009, I had my car in a BlackBerry. I was brand new. I would drive 2 or 3 hours if I had to get a wet document signed by a borrower to meet a closing requirement. I drove.
Thank you for DocuSign, right?
Crazy. I drove 2.5 hours to, upstate New York from the Bronx while I was still in college, because the client was buying a bank-owned property and the appraiser noted that the front steps were cracked and we couldn't close. So we drove up there. We went to Home Depot together. I never met the guy in my life. We patched it up. And he probably sent me 50 referrals. He worked for Verizon. He worked for Verizon at the time. And, he worked with all these guys, and he's able to refer me because he's like, yeah, my mortgage guy came and helped me fix my front steps, to close on this property. Not only did he buy the property, I think it was for like $290,000. He just sold it for like $600,000. So a 3-hour trip was well worth him making a $300,000 tax-free profit on the sale of his home, So that's the whatever it takes mentality. That especially separates you early on in your career, because the guys and gals that have been doing this for a long time, look, they're not going to drive 2.5 hours to help you fix a property. They're going to tell you to go do it. And if you don't do it, they don't really care if your deal closes or not. So you need to look at every single angle you have of being new and not having a ton of business, and make that one deal like, hey, if I don't get this done, have fun with it, play with it. If I don't get this deal done, there's no way I'm going to succeed in this business. And treat that deal like it's your last deal on earth. And if you do close that deal, you'll make millions of dollars. But you have to have that mindset. I've gotten away from number 12 as time has gone on. My desire to be number 1 was just a burning desire I always had. I didn't ever want to be less than what I knew I was capable of being. And maintaining that, made me become, pretty much like a monster, and no one inside the operations department could ever meet my intensity. So I scaled that back a little bit. But at the end of the day, your desire should just be where you want to be. If you want to make $500,000 a year, make $500,000 a year. Don't attach that to being number 1, right? If you want to make $100,000 in your first year, don't associate with that being number 1. Focus on what you're doing, focus on what's important to you, and focus on hitting your goals. You can't control being number 1. You just can't. Some people might be in other markets. Some people may have a full team. Some people might have been doing this for 30 years, right? Some people.
Yeah, but Jeff, at the end of the day, right? Just to add to what you're saying, I just moved to South Carolina. I've been living in Long Island my whole life. I moved in June. Economy proof, recession proof. As you follow me on my YouTube channel, all I do is post cheap properties in awesome school districts. Okay, like legitimately, like economy proof, affordable properties under $1,000, right? But I'm okay with being like an awesome number 2 here, and I think that that's what that's where you gotta say, where am I good with? But I've even been okay like 3. You know, even though I kill it with the Google reviews and I'm #1 within 80 miles of my office on Zillow reviews, right? I'm still okay with being #2, not being from here, you know, and
yeah, and I think that's a really great point. I think, again, you have to figure out what's important to you, and don't be fooled by numbers also, because some people that do $100 million in business, right, spend, just giving an example, $500,000 in budget, ad revenue, Zillow leads, whatever it is, right? MSA agreements, you know, marketing deals, where that takes a half a point off of that. You might do $50 million in business and make $2 million to yourself, for example. So don't get caught up in what everyone else is doing. Focus on just, you know, being a better you and hitting your achievable goals while applying pressure to yourself. Because if you don't apply pressure to yourself, you're not going to go out and get that extra 1 deal per month, where at the end of the year, that's an extra 12 deals. You know, that could be an extra $60,000 or $30,000 in your pocket, right? Like, your W-2 doesn't lie. Your W-2 is your report card every year. And we're coming up on receiving them for 2021. And a lot of people probably had good 2021s, but the goal isn't 2021 anymore. 2021's over. Question is, what are you going to do in the first quarter to set yourself apart from everybody else for the remaining part of the year and the rest of your career? Number 13, and I still have this, not as much because I've almost perfected my craft, but fear of letting others down. You know, we live in a world where no one can ever do anything good enough for anybody, but you need to have that mentality of, hey, I don't want to let myself down, but I don't want to let other people down. And the only way that you're able to achieve that is by becoming a master or expert, subject matter expert in your craft. It takes time, it takes experience, it takes leadership, it takes education, and it takes having the confidence in yourself and your product to know, I am not going to let anybody down. I'm going to run a tight ship. I'm going to get your deal closed, and you're going to be the one to spearhead everything to make sure nothing falls through the cracks so nobody gets let down. So those are the top 13 things that I think, you know, for somebody brand new or even somebody that's, you know, just trying to get back on track to be very successful early on. And I think it boils down to, like I said in my email to everybody, you got to organize these 13 as to what's most important to you. Okay. You need to figure out what is most important to you and prioritize these. So, you know what? Hey, I don't meet clients face to face. I'm going to start doing that. Hey, I don't really ask for favors. I'm going to start doing that. Hey, I'm going to, you know, open up a hot dog truck in my town and put my, you know, logo and brand on the side of it, because I know every single person in town stops here for hot dogs on Fridays. You know, whatever that might be, go ahead and do that, but really start implementing one at a time, whether it's one every month, one every week, whatever you want to do, just stay consistent with it. So what we're going to do now is open it up to Q&A. If anybody has any questions or wants to share any stories or ask any advice, I'd be happy to get those questions answered. And if everybody wants to just, you know, start off by telling everyone what your name is, you know, what company you work for, how long you've been doing this for, and then what your number one goal is for 2022, I think that'd be very helpful. So who wants to get started?
Hey, man, I'll start first. My name is Darren Kaplan. I've been doing this over 20 years. I work for Total Mortgage. I have over 190 reviews on Zillow, 5,000 subscribers to my YouTube channel. Everything that Jeff says is it's on point. If you're new, whether you're old doing this, whether you don't know technology, whether you know technology, the fundamentals are the same, right? And it's the consistency is the key to the game, and getting better every day, every week, every year, and wanting to do it, right? But here are some 10 housing records set in 2021, in case you guys didn't know, right? I'll go over a couple of them, right? Home supply dropped to its lowest level in history. Like, that has never happened, and it happened this year. The typical home sold in just 15 days. Amazing how like you barely need a realtor anymore to sell your home, right? Because it's almost automatically going to sell. And I'll give you one more, which really, I'll give you two. More than half of homes sold above the list price. I mean, that, and this one was the biggest one that actually was an eye opener, and then I'll stop talking. Investors, they purchase nearly 1 in 5 of all homes bought in the US. Think about that, right? 1 in 5 homes is bought by an investor. Crazy.
Perfect. What are your personal goals for 2022?
So I'm starting up 2 new podcasts this year. I know everybody's goals are different, but one thing, I had to move in 2021, so there were a lot of projects that I wasn't able to do. So one thing is going to be called Lake Murray Hustle. That's where I live. We're going to be interviewing just realtors here in Lake Murray. So look out for that. And then we're starting something similar to this, Jeff. It's called Home Buyer. It's a question and answer with people that are already our customer, people that have like these issues after they're a homeowner, you know, like mortgage insurance, how to eliminate that, right? How to get life insurance. Like, what are some problems that you had after you bought the house? Does an inspection really matter? You know, some like small question and answers. We're going to be calling that Home Buyer with a Z, so check out with that. But those are my 2 biggest goals in 2022, honestly. You know, and try to hit our numbers like always, but that, you know, those are numbers, man. You know, those aren't, numbers don't necessarily make you happy. Money isn't always the key to every element, especially when you've lost everything through an economy crash. My biggest fear was getting out of New York. I'm out of New York now. I always told myself and my family, if the economy came back, we would become economy proof. And how do you become economy proof? You know, that's a whole nother that's a whole nother podcast, right?
Move down to the sticks in South Carolina.
You know what? I moved to the Midlands. The schools are great here. The taxes are cheap, and they still got your Walmart, your Target, your Stop and Shop, your Publix, you know, normal real life. But Jeff, I appreciate this, man. This is great. I really like this. Thank you.
Thanks for hopping on. Who's next? Anybody next? Felicia, I'm going to call you out. You're next.
Love you, buddy.
How are you? Great to see you.
Good to see you, sweetie. How you been?
Doing well.
I know how you've been. You've been great.
Just rocking and rolling. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. You're on my other camera, so I'm on my other screen, so I'm going to go this way so I can look at you. I just love this. I love your posts. I always learn so much. I'm serious. I want to just come hang out with you and learn. So this is my 3rd year. I work for Movement Mortgage. It's my 3rd company since 2019 when I started. This company just fills my desire to give back and to truly be the hands and feet and to serve other people. It's not about what the loan amount is. It's about helping people. So this hopefully is my anticipated last move. And I love the company. I love that it just feeds my soul to work here. I've had some really great conversations talking about how we give back to the communities. 49 cents of every dollar goes back to charity. And why wouldn't I want to be involved in this company as a referral partner or as a client? Why wouldn't you want to be a part of this company knowing that you're making a difference across the globe? It's not just in the United States. So I love who I work for and I love what I do, but I love reading what you do. It boggles my mind, the deals you put together. I just am like, how do you do that? So if you could do a deeper dive into how you fund some of the stuff that you've done, like the bridge loans and stuff like that. And I don't know if you wanted to do that on this call or if that's something different, but I would love to know how you make those things work.
Yeah, so I appreciate you sharing that, and thank you, obviously, for giving me that feedback. I think that I've always been fortunate to be ahead of the market. Sometimes when I was younger, early on in my career, I was too far ahead of the market and I became impatient. I just think that there are so many opportunities the right way to establish relationships and get deals done, and people they don't care enough about the client or the consumer to figure out every way possible to get the deal done, So I'm like you, and definitely more so early in my career, I want to help people. But the second I see somebody's not appreciative of me helping them in today's market, I don't. Because they're not going to be appreciative. I'm not doing it for the paycheck. I'm doing it because I want to be appreciated and I want to appreciate people. So I put together my own fund. We have about $1 million plus or minus, depending on the deal on the day, out right now in deals that no other lender would do or even entertain or look at. And I believe it's a great way for loan officers and relationship professionals to not only get deals done, but solidify relationships, you know? So, hey, yeah, you know what? Our bridge rate is usually 1% per month, but if you don't do this, then you might go and lose your house to foreclosure, right? Or you might never be able to get rid of those 15 judgments. So I put my own capital, I pooled capital together with actually past clients, believe it or not. They had a ton of money they were sitting on, and they're like, hey, we need to return, we need to return our money, and we don't want it just sitting in the bank. So that's what we did. We put it together, and in 2021, we returned 19.6% on our money, which is unheard of, But again, like at the end of the day, yeah, that's all great. But the people that we helped with these loans had life-changing experiences, right? And I'm not doing this.
That's what they remember is the life-changing. Like I said, man, they don't remember they don't even remember you gave them 14%. They don't know that. They just remember that you helped them and saved their home or whatever that.
And especially like, again, part of our bridge that we do is like, they've already been told no by everybody, right? They were already told that, because the credit score is 550, no one would give them a penny, So by putting this together, like, it's funny. This is a true story. I did a $75,000 bridge loan to a client who had 15 or 17 judgments, 560 or 580 credit score, no income, gave him the money, marketed. This is how crazy this is. Marketed that deal by my social media post. A kid that was following me referred me to his uncle in the Bronx, a $10 million deal. Like, put that together, right? So like, and I tell you that because, yeah, 75,000, like, again, all in, net, at the end of the day, after paying investors, I made like $1,200, right? It cost me $30 to make my graphic designer's social media post, right? So net, I made, call it like $700, whatever it was. I didn't pay for a referral fee. All I did was post what I closed, and it got me a deal that was, do the math on it, what's that, 200 times, what our initial loan was, right? Something crazy. So I just think that if you put the borrower's focus in mind and guidelines, you're able to create, a sweet spot for yourself in the market that no one else is going to do. And then people are going to come to you because they know that you have all the resources available.
And Jeff, the more you talk about loans that you can't get done, like I can't get done for say, right? The more people want to know more about that aspect rather than what you rate, like, and like when the first thing I tell my guys on my team, one, be good with losing loans. Like if you're not good with losing loans, you'll never be good in this business ever. Just forget about it.
Correct.
Move on. That's one thing, right? And obviously the second thing is life changing. It's you want to experience the hey, I got this done for you, and like, oh my God, we just like Chris Delisle, your man, just did an awesome favor for me just now. He held money in escrow on a second mortgage for me. I mean, that's why we use him, right? That equity to help us do those favors that you're asking for that we never asked for. This is one of them that just came in right now while you're doing this. So it's fun.
Yeah. And again, so like what I always say is like, what I say is often what your management or leadership won't say. And that's kind of why I love being like independent, right? That's why I think these calls are going to be so valuable, because I don't have a direct monetary upside from you listening or not listening, right? I don't have any of you guys on payroll. I don't earn off the deals you close. So like, you're getting like truly what I think and believe. And I think that's really where the value of this comes. And like you said, look, favors aren't valuable. And that's why it's so important to focus on relationships, because when you need that favor, I've called Chris many times for favors, but I've also sent them probably in 14 years, 1,500 plus deals. Like that's insane, So like, why would you not say yes to something that can be done from a relationship standpoint? Felicia, did that answer any of your question at all? Or do you want me to expand more on that?
So you're putting the money up and it's your money. And how do you do that without running afoul of any type of laws and stuff if you're putting financing for the borrower? That's the piece that I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around. I love that you're doing it,
Yeah. Sylvia, just so you know, I saw you have a question. I'll get to you as soon as I'm done answering this. So it's a very strong gray area. I do not, and I really stay far and clear from lending money for primary residences. There's different state regulation as far as lending. Think of it as like the non-QM loan on steroids, if you will. So every loan that I do, 95% of them are on investment properties, and I require them to put property into an LLC, and it's done as a commercial transaction for business purposes. And therefore it goes completely off, like, the RESPA grid, if you will. Right. Okay. And again, when I go out, it's like anything else, like no good deed goes unpunished. And I'll share this with you because, again, look, I don't just show people the good, I show people the bad as well, right? Like
the whole package.
I've lost a ton of money doing it the wrong way from 2009 to 2017. And then I perfected it and I took on other capital, right? Because now I perfected what I made mistakes on. Realtor calls me up. It's a Saturday night in October. It's cold, dark out. And I'm like, what does this person want right now? Like, you have your own mortgage people. I told you to go somewhere else. I didn't want to deal with you. And my client needs a bridge loan. We've lost out on offers now for 7 months straight because my clients don't want to sell to buy. They want to sell at their own convenience, right? So long story short, they own a house in Pennsylvania. It's worth like $400,000. They're like, we want a $280,000 bridge loan. I'm like, look, I can do that, but that's not your best interest. Like, well, what do you mean? Blah, 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 blah. I go, you're paying $2,800 a month. I'm like, let me give you the down payment. I'll give you a mortgage pre-approval that's non-contingent upon the sale. So I'll structure all the numbers, make sure you can carry both payments, yada, yada, yada. And I'll even let you keep your first mortgage open. So I'll even record a second mortgage, right? Go through everything. They turn out to be complete knuckleheads. They call up my attorney. They say, I bamboozled them. I never explained anything to them. Meanwhile, they wanted 280. I gave them 75,000. They just didn't know, right? They weren't listening. Now, again, every single form of communication I do is in text and email to protect myself. This isn't my first rodeo. Like, exactly. And plus, like, I have to like you in order to lend you our own capital because I have to deal with you. Like, the last thing I want to do is deal with a headache for $75,000 where I make $750. It's not worth it, Right. Long story short, we submit the FHA loan. Everything's fine. We get the appraisal done. There's $30,000 of repairs required. It's not needed 203K. Now they call the attorney back and say, I lied to them. Meanwhile, they never told me that the house needed repairs. They're buying it as is. The debt income ratio is 55.4% on a 203K. Oh. They had no money in the bank, but they got their first offer accepted. So like their problem was they couldn't get an offer accepted. They got their offer accepted because of the language that I put in my pre-approval, right? Do you believe that they went somewhere else to do a 203K loan?
No, that's horrible.
But now we'll bring this back full circle. I went outside of my normal lending parameters, right? Against my better judgment for a favor for the realtor. That's actually a friend of mine to help him get his offer accepted, right? Now they're still living in the property. Technically, their loan's in default because in my paperwork, it says they have to vacate the residence within 30 days. Now it's been like 70 days.
Jeez.
You see what I'm saying? So, and I share that with you because like I have my box. I'm willing to do anything to help people. But oftentimes when you try and help people, this is what comes out of it, Yeah. And I can't share that obviously on Facebook. I have no problem sharing it like on this call, but like this technically could be a liability issue on both ends, and they're out of compliance. They signed an agreement. They didn't honor the agreement, but I lent on a primary residence technically because they didn't follow that rule, right? But anyone can do it. So like if you want to do it, you can set up your own LLC. You obviously have to have your attorney draft everything and documents. I mean, we send a very, very, very labor intensive closing package. We need to protect our capital, but anyone can do it. I'm picking back and forth, the ability, I want to scale the million to 10 million because the market needs it. Yeah. But once I scale past that $2 million mark, then you get different regulators involved. There's more red tape. There's more fees. There's more cost. So like, I kind of like just dancing in the sweet spot for the time being.
Mhm.
But like anything else, the larger you grow, the more exposure you have. And I really don't need any more headaches at this point in life.
Yeah. Amen.
But again, you could do that. I mean, theoretically, like if you wanted to take $100,000 of your money and, you know, your client needs $50,000 and they have no mortgage on a property, you can lend them $50,000 at your terms that you know, mandate, and they could use those funds for whatever they want. You can legally do that. There's nothing preventing that.
Okay. Cool.
Sound good?
Yeah, it sounds great.
And
Thank
remember,
you.
every state is different. It's state specific. Like I wouldn't do that deal in Florida because Florida has something called the homestead exemption, where even if I had the default, a judgment couldn't be recorded on a primary. So you need to like research every state law. That's why I really just dance in like the New York, New Jersey, kind of Pennsylvania, Connecticut area, because I know those states' laws. And I'm not going to spend time, you know, researching all 50 states if I don't have, you know, visions of expanding there.
Exactly. And I'm, you know, just up the East Coast from you. So, you know,
I hear you. You're a little bit north.
I'm it, man.
Sylvia, you had a question?
Hi, I did. It was actually a little bit more based on like my situation, but I'm quite new, so I wasn't sure if this was like the right place or if I should reach out to you privately.
You've come to the right place. How can I help you?
Well, first of all, I wanted to thank you for hosting this Zoom at noon. Like the group has been so great and I've been finding such great resources. Basically, my situation is I'm very new to the industry, like new as in I just passed my exam last week.
Congratulations.
I just started with a company. Thank you so much. And I just started with a company last week. A friend had referred me to a very small company. I'm based out of SoCal.
Okay.
Anyways, like since day one, like I basically received no training. I received a company manual and like 2 books on reverse mortgages, which is what I'm going to be doing. But in the interim, I received like no training. And I just like, you know, I kind of reached out to a few people in the group and they said, this is actually kind of the norm. Like a lot of people are just thrown into it and just, you know, expected to start cold calling or whatnot. But I think for me, like I would love some guidance or even mentorship. And I've been trying to like just find a lot of resources in the group, which has been really great. And even doing my own research, but I'm not sure like if you guys have any suggestions in terms of someone who's new to the industry, like brand new to the role. My background is actually human resources and customer service. So it's quite a career shift, but there's a lot of things that I really like about it. And I'm very, you know, driven, competitive, and I have a really good like sales. I don't know if personality is the right word.
I mean,
but
I think everyone on the call can attest that you have a great voice to speak to people. So you're very warm and welcoming.
Thank you. But I just like, I feel a little bit lost in terms of what to do. And, you know, I've tried to reach out to try to get some training, but I think it's just, I don't know if maybe it's the holidays, but it's like, there's kind of none really available for me. So I'm not sure, like, should I find another company per se? Yeah.
Yeah. So let me just, I'm going to tackle everything that you said, and then you feel free to ask more questions after I give my answers. So congratulations on taking the step of passing your exam. That's obviously like the entry point. And I've had a problem with this, and I've lost, me personally, I'm going to say lost. I spent probably close to $1 million of my own taxed capital trying to develop like management leadership, bringing on teams, you know, training people. This is all before the age of 30, right? Because, you know, 3 years into the business, I very much so realized that there was a big disconnect between management and leadership and sales and operations, right? So it's like, hey, Sylvia, come on in, come get your mortgage loan officer. You're going to make a killing. Hey, I get my license, Jeff. And then I'm like, well, you know what? I have 30 of my own deals right now. I have 10 loan officers that are making me $1 million, you know, and I'm not being like funny when I say this, but why am I going to give, and this isn't me, this is why I lost money doing this. People are going to be like, why am I going to give this person attention? Because they're not generating me any revenue. So that's why I do what I do and set myself up the way I did as an independent third party, where I do one-on-one coaching, I do group coaching. I've found that the most crucial time for a loan officer is the first 90 days of their career from when they get licensed, because if you don't see results, it's like anything else, you're going to fall off and try and go down a different path, or you're going to be discouraged, right?
For sure.
So I also, just to make note, I definitely like the fact that you're getting involved in the reverse mortgage market. However, I don't like the fact that where we are market timing wise, I don't think it's going to be the most rewarding for you unless the company is going to be providing you with your own leads, right? If that makes sense. And let me rephrase that and repeat that to be more clear. I believe the reverse mortgage market is going to be booming for the next 15 plus years, right? Most baby boomers and up didn't properly plan for retirement. They worked their odd end jobs. They want to retire and go on Social Security, and they realize Social Security can't feed them every month, right? But they might have a house that has a tremendous amount of equity in it. So learning that is going to be great for you. You know, if you could sit down and like go to senior citizen homes, I'm just throwing things out there, senior citizen homes, you know, Medicare, Medicaid providers, trust and estates attorneys, all type of lawyers, you know, life insurance companies, home insurance companies, whoever, and get these people's information, you know, you could just reach out to them and market yourself to them. The thing is, like, these deals are going to come sporadically. It's not like you're going to be able to do 10 reverse mortgages a month unless you're running a campaign. But the problem is the people that are baby boomers and north, they're not really, you know, active on social media to the point where, you know, you're going to be able to market to them from that magnitude, right? Maybe you run an ad in like the local paper, because the baby boomers and up are very, very still, you know, newspaper driven, you know. Maybe you take it, you know, an ad out on the television between like, you know, 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. because that's when a lot of them are up and they can watch their late shows, you know. But me personally, again, just hearing you, and again, obviously I don't know you well yet. I think you should focus on the millennial purchase market. It seems like that's where you would be best fit and utilized. You know, if you are competitive and driven, like you say you are, and I don't doubt that, I think that's where you'll find the most success. And if you present yourself with the right, you know, get up and knowledge, a little bit of knowledge can be like very dangerous for you, which is going to be great because now you're able to go out there, hustle, socialize, network, and focus on your strengths rather than you trying to learn a new business, trying to learn one specific loan product, and then getting in front of people that, you know, not saying they won't take a liking to you, but more often than not, someone that does a reverse mortgage doesn't have to do the reverse mortgage at that time. Very few reverse mortgages are done where like, hey, I have to get this done in 30 days or else, right? So the duration of you meeting someone to closing could be a very long period of time. And again, I'm not sure what your financial situation looks like, but from a survival standpoint and a accomplishment standpoint, that, you know, risk reward just doesn't seem to be there.
So then
I also think,
I thought,
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say the fact that you come from an HR and customer service background, that's great because that means that you know how to like stay inside the lines and be compliant and also be, you know, a real person and provide service. So the mortgage business, I've never considered the mortgage business to be sales. I've considered it to be service. So if you service people the right way with knowledge and education, you don't have to worry about selling anything. You need to worry about being able to properly educate them on the rate and terms, not sell them on the rate and terms.
Exactly. So sorry, sales, I meant more like the competitive nature. But yeah, I'm completely used to, you know, really HR, we deal with a whole gamut of things. So I'm really comfortable with, you know, dealing with people and whatever issues, objections they have. But I think the missing piece for me is that me becoming educated to know it inside out. Like that's the part where I feel like I'm missing, which is why I've been trying to seek it elsewhere, whether it's in this group or just on the internet. But it's like, so back of my mind, I'm like, is this maybe the wrong place for me? And I should find a company that offers better training. Like that's kind of where
let me interrupt you for a second, right? The more deals you see, the better you're going to get. So if you see a deal a day, you're only going to be one deal a day better. If you see 10 deals a day, you're going to be 10 deals a day better. So brand new in the business, and I hire brand new people. I run a Zoom meeting. The minute I wake up, boom, I pop it on, and then my whole team starts coming on. And everybody learns, they listen. The technology will guide you as well. But if you're already having doubts and you've only passed to like today, your doubts probably aren't telling you something that's not right. Like I've only been with 5 companies in 22 years. Okay? Even with the whole economy crash in 2008, you need to as many deals possible. You need to see as many leads possible. You need to talk to as many people possible in order to get those answers you're looking for right now. In order to get specific answers, that's what you need to know. You need to know, are you making money? Are you closing loans? And are you getting leads? Right, Jeff? I mean,
yeah. So again, look, I think, and those are all great points. You know, what I've experienced is, like me, I'm the type of person that I'm going to give you everything I got until I realize I'm giving you everything I got and you're checking in and checking out. Right. So I think from like an input output perspective, right? Like what you put in is what you're going to get out. What I've also known, this is not about you or your company. I can tell you like for a fact right now, the big guys, the big girls are going to be eating up all the smaller companies, where the smaller companies, you know, unless you have a specific niche in what you're doing, you know, they're not going to be able to compete. And I'm not talking about like Bank of America, you know, Chase, Wells Fargo, you know, the big banks, right? I'm talking about like the banks that do $2 to $30 billion a year in business, have that much more deep pockets and resources and have the ability to train and everything else, rather than a smaller company. You know, I don't care how much business they're doing on a smaller company scale. If they're doing a lot of business, that means they have a lot of money. They don't want to spend the extra time and resources training somebody brand new, right? That's number one. Number two, they don't have the luxury of, you know, spending money, forget about time, on people that aren't generating them revenue. They only look at this business as like, what have you done for me lately? And I'm speaking from a massive level, right? I'm not speaking from like, your company might be the best. I don't know that. Yeah. But what I've found, again, like why I've done what I've done over the past 4 years specifically, is because this need that you're going through, like you said, is this for me? Yeah, you know what? It is for you. But unless somebody tells you how to put on your football helmet, put on your cleats, what jersey to wear, what team you play for, and what play to run, if you know football at all, you're not going to know that because you've never done that. So forget about, hey, what do I have to do? It's what do I have to do? Plus, I don't know what to do, right? Hey, go out and tell people about mortgages. Okay, but I don't know about mortgages. So like what comes first? But back to what Darren said, and I was going to say this before he jumped in, experience is the best teacher, right? So in part of the new law officer coaching program that I run, and again, like I don't do it to the masses because it's, when I say it's time consuming and I become very invested, usually I find myself more invested in my partner or client's success than they do. And that becomes frustrating, right? So
yeah, for sure.
What I would tell you is like, we'll break it down to, here's what I want you to do this week. I want you to, Google the list of 50 real estate offices inside of your market. For example, I'm just giving an example, obviously, right? And pick 10 in the same proximity each day, because it's 5 days a week. I want you to go to each office once on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So 10 offices a day, right? And all I want you to do is walk in, smile, introduce yourself, give your card, get their card. If they want to talk, talk. If they don't want to talk, say thank you, talk to you soon. Get back in your car, if you have a car or a bicycle. Send them an email. Sylvia, it was great meeting you. I hope we can do business in the future. If you ever need a quick pre-approval, please let me know. Boom. That's your task for that week, right? Now, what you choose to do on your off time, if you will, that's up to you. But I always go back to, it's a numbers game. If you get in front of 100 people, right? And as you do more business and generate more self-business on your own, you'll know that, okay, if I get in front of 100 people, 60 people have mortgages, 30 people need to refinance, 20 people want to sell their home, and 10 people lost their job, whatever those numbers are, right? But it's a numbers game. The more people you get in front of, the more likeliness they are to contact you. What I've also come to learn is people inside your network, people inside people's networks want to support them, especially early on. So they selfishly can say they helped you become successful, right?
Yeah.
So if you post on your Facebook, hey, I'm doing mortgages now. If anyone has a mortgage above, I'll give an example, 3.5%, let me walk you through your options that are available to you. And now all of a sudden, you're going to get a ton of private messages. Hey, actually, our rate's 4.125%, and we have 17 years left on our mortgage. Can you help me? Yeah. And then that's when you and I would review the mortgage statement together. We would come up with, what I really like doing is pulling up Excel and doing a screen record. And I walk them through with the voiceover of me breaking down their options of like, hey, here's your loan option number 1. Here's your loan option number 2. Here's option number 3. Here's what my personal opinion is. Let's talk about this. And I send them the video to watch it. They review it. And then we do a live follow-up call to go over those options in person so we can get, real live feedback, right? But if you don't put yourself out there, you're not going to have the response on the input side to get that experience.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
You definitely need a good leader though, and a good manager that's like there to help you. That cares.
Yeah, but let's be real there. And those, truthfully, the real leaders and managers are loan officers and run their own teams, right? And they're only going to spend time and attention to people making them money. So there is I'm going to call it a minor league system. There's a need for that. That's why we're on this call, is because no one running a bank is going to take a call between 12 and 2 p.m. on a weekday at the end of the month to give training to people. They're just not going to do it,
And the thing too is like I said, my background's HR, so I'm used to setting people up with training with their managers. So even for myself, like when I started, I made my own like 30, 60, 90. I've been listening to this podcast, like an MLO podcast. Like I'm really like trying to absorb all this knowledge, but I feel like it's that mentorship or like leadership piece that I'm missing. So it's like, I'm trying to find it, but I'm like, I don't know where to look. And I'm like reaching out to all these people just to see like what I can find. Cause I'm very hungry for the knowledge. Like I definitely want to get started, but I want to get started in the right way so that I have that strong foundation versus just trying to go out there and then people realizing, hey, actually, you don't know anything. It's like, I don't want to do business with you, things like that.
Can I just interject something, Sylvia? When I first started, like literally, I had to beg my boss to meet me in the office to let me sit with him so I could hear what he was doing and see what he was doing. I begged him. And I was like, okay, so this totally sucks. And it wasn't what I wanted. And I only stayed with him for 9 months. I hired a business coach my 3rd month in. And he said to me, you don't need to do that. I can teach you what you need to know. And I just smiled at him and said, oh, I know. I just want more. Because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, but you haven't. You gave me a laptop and said, go sell. And I'm in the relationship business. I don't sell. I build relationship. So I would, if Jeff does one-on-one coaching, honestly, is amazing. And I will tell you, I met Jeff in Florida at my very first, I was in the business 6 months, I think. And I met him at a coaching at a sales summit for mortgage and real estate professionals. And I met Jeff back then in 2019, and I fell in love with him because he's so passionate about what he does and how he can help people. He really does wear his heart on his sleeve, and no, I'm not getting paid for this. I adore Jeff. And that's why I follow him on Facebook. I watch his YouTube. I have his book. He's amazing. So you're in the right place. But if you're already having those warning bells where you're adrift with your brand new company, I'd move to another company. Just
Felicia, do me a favor. Just send me your Venmo so I can send you $20 for that. I appreciate that.
So, coaching is the way to go, honestly, to get yourself up to speed.
And again, so, and I really appreciate you sharing that. And I think she hit the nail on the head with, I do wear my heart on my sleeve. And look, I'm the first person to tell you, like, I've lost $1 million in trying to, again, I say lost, I've spent $1 million to try and create something for the past decade, right? It's an investment in what we have now, what I've built now. But I basically said, okay, my bank's telling me go out and bring new people on and train them and everything. But I'm personally doing $30 to $50 million a year in business, right? So I got to bring them on, spend my time. The bank has nothing invested. Like, okay, you know what? It's all going to fall on me. So I have to recruit, train, answer questions nights and weekends, and do, 100 to 200 residential deals a year. I've never done this before, So again, that's why I've really, really, really focused on, you can't expect that from your company, right? And I don't know why this is, but people are willing to pay me a lot of money per hour, per month, whatever per year, whatever the case might be. But if they worked for me or with me as one of my loan officers or loan originators, they would resent me because I was making money off of them. Does that make sense?
It's nonstop. It's all over the. I think it's the reason why I got off Long Island and went to a Connecticut-based company, Jeff, because I couldn't take that anymore. That resentment, that feeling that you get, you're finally at a point where you're making more money than the owner or the managers, and they're like, "What? Forget about you. I'm going to take your money. I'm going to make it for myself. Look, Darren." And that was really the reason why I got off Long Island, man, and not deal with any mortgage companies. Not that I don't know all of them. I know all the owners, but I just feel like they knew me too well. They knew where I lived. They knew my house. They knew my block, how many kids I had,
So what I'll also tell you is, again, and we know that, the mortgage business, and it's changing. So the mortgage business has always been male dominant, and the real estate industry has always been female dominant. I'm talking about, if you look at numbers statistically year over year over year. And again, the gap is closing, right? But back in the day, it was, hey, I'm a mortgage guy, my wife's a realtor, right? That's just, or my mom's a realtor, my dad's a mortgage guy, whatever it is. And I say that because ego does play a role, like Darren just said. When your manager's making $200,000 a year, right, and you get to the point where you're making $400,000 a year without their help, they feel inferior and insecure. And Felicia, I'm sure you've experienced this to an extent where the managers are really just there to basically draw a line between ownership and sales. They're often there to babysit or deal with the squeaky wheels, and they're not in the business to educate, motivate, inspire, to help you get to the next level. It's almost like they don't want to do that. But again, I think with a millennial driven mindset, understanding the way social media works today, being able to capitalize on what you've already built on throughout your life. If you were with me, if you're on my team, I would say, here's all the resources you need. Go out there. My phone's on 24/7. You tell me what works for you, and I'll accommodate accordingly, right? I'm not going to try and fit you in a box, because that's the way I've always fit people into boxes. Every single person has strengths, and those strengths need to be doubled and tripled down on to put you in the best position to learn, be confident, and succeed.
I don't mean to cut you all off, Jeff. I so appreciate this. What is it? Zoom at noon. Let's go next week, baby.
I'll see you.
Guys there. Sylvia, bring more questions. Come on. I love this. I want to hear them. All right, guys. Listen, awesome. Happy New Year, right? Happy New Year.
Be well. Be safe.
Check out my interview with Jeff, Mr. Mortgage Guru, on YouTube. Later, guys.
See you later.
Thank you.
So Sylvia, I guess my question to you is, what's important to you, right? Is it, I want to be at a big, well-known company. I want to get personal training. I want to, learn all mortgages. I want to learn how to go out and get business. You can't do everything at once because it'll be too much. It's too much overload. Let me backtrack. What type of way do you learn best? What is the best learning you do?
I'm a pretty visual person. So honestly, I think for me, I don't even know anymore, because even when I was doing the tests, I would study from the notes, I would study from the book, and then I was like, you know what? I don't know if this is working for me. So I started finding YouTube videos, and then I started making my own notes, and then I started teaching my friends about everything that I learned. So I think for me, I almost need more than one way of learning where I feel like I'll really take it in. So for example, if it's a Zoom call, and then it's hey, you go out and do it, and I'll kind of mentor you, or, things like that. I think it just, as long as it's not stale, I think I'm pretty open to it. I don't know if that kind of answers your question, but
yeah, it does. So, what I always say is like for new loan officers, like if you just go to my Instagram and it's just at Jeff Van Note SR, like senior, my son's junior, so Jeff Van Note Jr., but it's at Jeff Van Note Senior. Like you'll see the content that I post. And if you scroll way back, I'm talking like way back to like 2017, 18, where it was more residential mortgage specific. I'm a big believer in like, you don't know even what to look for in the market. So like, how do you create content other than boring content? Like, hey, who needs a mortgage? You know, hey, I need mortgages, right? Let me just give you an example of like how a personalized experience. Again, I'm happy to do this every week on these calls and give away this all for free. I have no problem doing that. But, you know, everyone needs to be focused on, again, like what their strengths are. If you go to, I don't know if you have your computer up, go to Google and type in US 10 year, YEAR Treasury. So US 10-year Treasury. And click on CNBC. And you see how if it pops up, it says 1.557%, up 0.076%. You see that? So this is like part of like strategy of content. So that means that today's interest rates are up on the 10-year Treasury note, which means mortgage rates are up as well, even though there's not a direct correlation. I would screenshot this, right? I would post it to Facebook and say, mortgage rates are up right now. How high do you think mortgage rates can go? And then I would say, you know, again, this is me speaking because I do this all the time. Based on my opinion, I believe the highest this can go in short term is 1.7%, which means we have a little bit more upside for mortgage rates to go higher before they come down back under 1.4%. So we may see interest rates rise over the next couple of days, next couple of weeks, next month or two, but we believe in the next 90 days, interest rates are going to be lower from here. Make your prediction. Because now you're giving education, you're showing people something relative to them, right? And you're giving them the opportunity to engage. And someone just might guess and then say, you know what? Let me follow her because I want to know if I'm going to be right, you know? But no manager is going to tell you to Google the US 10-year Treasury, create this as content because the manager is probably 50 plus years old and they're not even creating content. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
like this
that's
is like
exactly
relative,
it.
This is like relative real time, 1:12 p.m. Eastern time, you know, market advice that you're giving. So like you slowly become the expert by posting relative information that nobody else is posting, you know? Like Darren just said, you know, did you know that 50% of homes sold last year sold above list price? I would literally take a headshot of you, do like a blurb, like in like cartoons where it has like the bubble, right? And put that like, hey, did you know this? Post it to your Instagram, hashtag whatever's relative, you know, to where you are locally. And you watch how people will be like, yeah, I sold my house for $50,000 over ask price. Or you'll get a buyer saying, hey, I just bought my house 6 months ago. Then you can message them, hey, what was your interest rate? See what I'm saying? Like, you don't need to know mortgages in order to do what I just told you. But if we didn't have this call, you would never think of, hey, let me just do that, something so simple to get the engagement. And then once you have the engagement, then we can figure out how to get the mortgage done.
Yeah, that's such great info.
And then the other thing I would tell you is like, be very careful. Like, there is so much spam and negative information and wrong information and outdated information out there. So like, what I always do, especially when I want to learn something new or when I want to perfect something, I want to go to the subject matter expert, right?
Yeah.
So I don't care what it's going to cost me. And it's not about the dollar. It's about if I'm going to do something, I want to hear it and get it from someone that has not only done it, right, but is considered to be one of the top or elite in the industry for it. So, you know, any mortgage person can put comments out there, right? Like if you look at any of the posts in any of these groups, people ask questions and like the answers are almost like my stomach turns sometimes because I know it's not the right answer, but I'm not the type of person to go and like contradict someone on what their answer is. But there's a lot of misinformation that can cause, you know, a longer term setback, especially for someone brand new like yourself. Like right now, you know, you have like a brand new impressionable brain. We want to make sure you're getting the most efficient information, not the most depleted information from the wrong source.
For sure.
What part of, you said Southern California, what part of Southern California are you in?
Orange County, in the Irvine
Very
area.
nice. What what's specific, like, is there a town there?
Irvine.
Irvine?
Yeah.
So what I would do is, like, because UC Cal Irvine is right there, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. So what I would do is, like, first of all, I'd come up with a brand for you. So, like, again, like, I'm just thinking of this out loud. Like Sylvia with the S as a money sign. I'm big into, like, so my podcast is called Deposit That, but the S is a money sign. I would literally get a shirt made that says Sylvia with a money sign. People are gonna be like, what is that? Oh, well, you know, I'm in the mortgage business. I give people money. Right? I'm just giving an example. And I would go and I would, like, walk around campus or, like, go around to that area and, like, just meet people, talk to people, and, you know, hey, you're going to graduate college this year. When you get your job, you know, come to me for a mortgage. You almost want to put yourself in a position where you're immediately socially accepted based on, like, your cool, trendy marketing feel, right? And then cultivate the people that aren't coming to you immediately right away with, hey, I have this pressing mortgage issue or situation, solve it for me, because that's obviously a lot of pressure. You're going to put yourself in a position where you guys can organically grow together, and then maybe you create a program with the school where you do some type of transition, or even be a guest speaker in an economics class on how to help people become first-time home buyers, or, like, the top 5 things to plan for when you want to buy your first home out of college.
That is so great.
Does that make sense?
Wow. It does, yeah.
And, like, you could literally go, like, get a white t-shirt, get a black permanent marker, like I do, right? I have a black permanent marker. You could write your name, put a line through the S, and, like, walk around in like a white tank top or a white shirt, and you're gonna get questions about it. Like, what is that? You know, like, who's Sylvia and why is there a money sign that is yes?
Yeah. That is so great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Hopefully we'll have, like, a follow-up call or figure out, you know, how I can help you more.
I'll probably reach out to you offline for sure.
Okay, cool. Does anybody
you.
have any other questions? Jen, I know you had some questions on coaching and stuff. Cam, I hope all is well. Simone, if you guys have any questions, feel free to engage and ask whatever you guys need.
Hi, can you hear me? This is Cam.
Hey, Cam. Yes, I can hear you. How are you?
Great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your motivation. Seriously, I do. I'm also a newer MLO. Actually, I've been licensed for a while, but I work for a broker, and like Sylvia was saying, I haven't received a lot of training, none whatsoever, as a matter of fact. So my training is basically YouTube.
Well, hopefully you add me to your arsenal, and hopefully we'll see you every Wednesday at noon. What states are you licensed in, and where are you located?
I'm only licensed in Florida at this point.
And where in Florida?
Orlando, Florida.
I'm doing a deal in Orlando right now, believe it or not. I just closed an FHA deal in Orlando in 9 calendar days.
Wow, that's what's up.
So I like the Florida market a lot, and I think it's a very booming market, and we definitely have to get you up to speed. But tell me a little bit more about yourself, your company, your background, what got you in the business, and what questions you have.
Okay, well, I have a full-time job. I'm a guidance counselor at a high school, and I said, you know, what else can I do instead of this? So, you know, I work full-time, so it's very difficult for me to, you know, get out, meet people, and do various things. But my main issue is education, knowledge. Like you were saying, that the marketing techniques, I have no problem. I'm great at that. I can get out, I can talk. I know that I can do it. But the thing is, I don't have the knowledge. I'm just clueless, you know? So I don't want to, you know, take someone's application and not know what I'm doing. So I'm just trying to figure out, you know, what route I should take, you know, because I can't lose employment. I have to work. So I don't have 6 months reserved to, you know, figure this out.
I can give you my number $1 million tip and advice, and it's my free gift to you for Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. If not, then Happy New Year. My number one piece of advice to you.
What?
You know who your biggest clientele and market should and could and will be?
Who?
The teachers inside of your school district.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, I already have it. You know, I've been marketing, you know, but the thing is when I get started, or when I do, you know, I don't really know what route to take them. I do have a broker, but like you were saying, that broker is making their own money. You know, they don't have time. My branch manager doesn't have time to sit back and, you know, train me on the weekend. So that's the issue that I'm running into. It's just more so confidence, knowledge and confidence, as far as, you know, knowing what it is I need to be doing.
So, like I said, I'm a big believer in setting a plan, right? And and again, if you guys ever go back, and I encourage you to do this, go back, look at articles I've been articles I've been featured in, my old posts, old videos I've done. I'm not really the guy that ever had a plan, right?
Okay.
I got involved with the plan, when I really got back into fitness. During June of last year of COVID, coming off of an ankle break and surgery and everything else. And my personal trainer, who's an NFL trainer, I purposely hired him because I knew he would make me work, right? Is you have to create a plan. You can't say, hey, today I have one deal. Tomorrow I need to have 15 deals. That's not a plan, right? That's a hope and a dream, right? The goal is to slowly improve and get better where the results can't be taken from you, right? Because if you go from one deal to 15 deals and then to no deals, you're going to be discouraged, right? So by setting this plan of how do we get you to become more knowledgeable and confident, right? How do we put you in a position to get business and earn now? And how do we give you the support team or resources you need to do that? My first piece of advice would be get your business cards if you don't have them. If you don't have them, that's a bigger problem. Bark at whoever's supposed to be getting them to you and hand them to every teacher you work with and say, hey, write them maybe a nice letter. Hey, I'm the guidance counselor. We've known each other, blah, blah, blah. We're in the same school district. I also do mortgages. Would you mind bringing in your current mortgage statement if you own a home? Or if you don't own a home, do you mind sitting down and letting me pre-approve you to show you how much of a loan you can qualify for? So that way they're giving you a mortgage statement, for example, and now you use that as practice with somebody you probably know, like, trust, and or have a rapport with, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're going out there for free inside of your full-time workplace. It's not costing you anything. You're doing it anyway. You're posting in the flyers in the lunchroom, sending an email out to your colleagues. And I guarantee you, if you try it amongst 10 people, 3 of them, so 30%, will give you a copy of the mortgage statement, whether they want to or whether because they feel obligated to. They're still going to get you that mortgage statement, which then you're going to use as real life, real-time experience.
I like that. Good point.
Easy, right? I mean, again, like people try and overthink everything. Like, you know, like people tell me, I can't do mortgages. I'm no good at math. I'm like, well, good thing there's something called the Google mortgage calculator. You don't need to have a brain for math. I don't care if you've never added 1 + 1 before. All you have to do is know what each number is and put it in the calculator, and the calculator does the math for you. That goes back to like the lack of confidence and knowledge and limiting self-belief because, again, it's a very overwhelming industry. You know, it's a lot of information, constantly changing, and you have to wear many hats to succeed in this business. So I try and keep it simple of like, what can I know you do that you can control where you don't need knowledge? Hand somebody a pre-written letter with your business card, asking them for their mortgage statement so you can try and help them. They're not going to tell you no.
Perfection. Thank you very much.
How do you feel now? You feel much more confident?
I feel a little more confident, a little bit, a little bit, but you know, but once and for all, you know, just really knowing that the inside, you know, I have the basics, you know, I know how to take the application and all that, but when questions start to come, you know, and I can't really, I just don't, I feel that I'm, you know, not effective, you know.
So here's what I'll also tell you what I've learned.
Answer those questions.
If you're brand new, you start off by saying, hey, I am brand new, but I have a full support team behind me with decades of experience. I'm learning. So I can't tell you I'm going to know every answer when you ask the question, but I can assure you I will get you the right answer in a very short amount of time.
Sounds like a plan.
That way, you're very honest and transparent, and you're setting yourself up not to look incompetent. You're leading with, hey, I'm brand new, I'm learning. So I apologize if I take a couple minutes to get back to you, or I don't know the answer right away. Let me speak to whoever to make sure I get you the right answer. So that way, you know, you're getting the right information and we're not jeopardizing your deal or your mortgage or whatever the answer might be. Sound good?
Yes.
How many mortgage statements are you going to get by February 1st?
Oh, I would say let's go by February 1st. I would go with 4.
I like that, 1 per week. Okay, so what I want you to do is break that down. I want you starting Monday of next week to get one mortgage statement. I don't care if it's your family. I don't care if it's your own mortgage statement. If you have your own mortgage, I want 4 mortgage statements out of you, 1 per week on average. So if you do 2 next week, I still want you to try and get 1 each week, but we need 4 by February 1st. And I want to check in with you at least once a week. You let me know how that progress is going.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff.
Sound good?
Sounds great.
Does anybody else have any questions? Do you have any further questions on that?
No. Maybe next week.
I can tell you that I can tell you I hear a lot more life in your voice after we just spoke.
Yes, it's just what I need. I'm so happy I ran into you on Facebook.
I'm happy you attended. Again, I could do this, till I'm blue in the face all day, every day, every Wednesday at 12. But if people want to learn and they don't attend, I can't help them. So I appreciate again everyone attending, because that means that you're invested in yourself and you want to you want to maximize your potential and not leave anything on the table.
Yes, I know I can do it.
Well, I think that you have the personality, and I believe you can do it. So let's go ahead and get those 4 in the next month.
All right. Thanks.
Simone, Jan, do you have any questions? Do you have any insights? Do you need anything?
Yeah. Hey, Jeff. So I think it was almost a fluke that your name popped up in the ad or talking about the event that you're having today. Where can we find you on a regular basis?
I mean, I'll give you my cell phone number if you want to write it down. It's 551.
Wait. I can't believe you're giving me.
I mean, again, so like to be clear, like Felicia said, and I met Felicia back in 2019. Like, I know mortgages like the back of my hand. I walked away from I'll tell you my full story at some point, but to sum up the past 4 years, I walked away from, a $30 to $50 million a year residential mortgage business to teach myself, basically hard money lending, commercial financing, non-QM lending. I'm developing 2 real estate technology companies. My passion is like teaching, coaching, educating, and helping other people in all spaces. Part of the reason why I launched my podcast as well. So like, this is what actually excites me and like makes me tick, if you will. Doing mortgages, like, damage my brain. Helping people and like seeing people succeed and making sure they're getting the right information and advice and exposure and guidance. Like, that's really what I love to do. So that's why I have no problem giving you my cell number. I hope we can do business in the future.
Okay. So like, do you have a Facebook group or the name of your podcast or?
So my podcast is called Deposit That. Like, you go to the bank and deposit money. It's called Deposit That. The YouTube channel is actually called depositthatyoutube.com, and I record at my studio in Manhattan. I've been doing it sporadically, but since COVID happened, because all my interviews that I do are live, in person, face to face, and with the whole craziness of like the lockdown and everything, a lot of people were skirmish. So most of the episodes, I did like 10 or 12 in the past, 9 to 10 months, whatever it's been. But we're going to start kicking that back up on a more regular basis. But I've really gotten geared more towards calls like these with either smaller focus groups or, 100, 200 people, where people just ask questions and learn from everyone else. But my cell phone number, if you want to write it down, is 551-222-1873. And my Instagram is at Jeff Van Note, JEFFVANNOTESR Senior. So I have a little junior who looks like a mini me. And I highly recommend you guys again follow me on Facebook as well, because I kind of change up my content where I post. I know my audience. I tell more stories on Facebook. I do more like, shortened posts or like little clips on Instagram. And I think you guys will get a good idea as far as my mindset, as far as like branding and marketing goes. And again, I'm going to be on here every Wednesday at noon. And my goal is to like, just keep doing this and try and help people. I think that, the more people you get involved around with the right, mindset of getting better and being a bigger team mentality, even though everyone works for different companies and is different states and does all different things, hopefully it can inspire people to, really have something to look forward to midway through the week.
Okay. And my final question is about your coaching. At this time, you're not doing.
I'm sorry, you cut out. Can you hear me? Are you there? I can't hear you, Jen. I can't hear you. I don't know what happened. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. It was just a question about coaching.
Yeah, what about it?
Whether you would have coaching, group coaching, or is it specifically the one-on-one? And if it's the one-on-one, isn't it more for those who are experienced as opposed to Sylvia, Cam, and I who are new?
So look, we could do it one of two ways. I'm going to tell you what I recommend, right?
Okay.
And then, if you guys even said, hey, I want to do it, the three of us, we want to commit to, an hour a week, whatever it is, like get you guys a much better deal on pricing. And that way we can still accomplish enough. But we could basically go and I could target, hey, here's today's, lesson, if you will. I'll give, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30-minute presentation, give my thoughts, and then open it up to Q&A. My personal opinion is always this. I always like doing a discovery call. Not to eliminate outsiders, but a one-on-one discovery call, we can really get opened up. And if you notice, like I listen to what people say, which allows me to best reply and respond to help them. So I always recommend doing a discovery call. I could do anywhere from like $200 to $300 for that 1 hour. That's a discovery call. And then from there, based on what we discussed, I could put a plan into place. I don't like going out more than 90 days because the market changes rapidly. And I really like focusing on the results and improvements made in that quarterly window. So if we speak, let's say we speak tomorrow afternoon for our first discovery call, I'll ask you, okay, well, what does this look like for you? Is it 30 minutes a week? Is it an hour a week? Do you need it once a week, twice a week? What is the schedule what are you looking to accomplish? Then once you tell me what you're looking to accomplish, we kind of go back in like a package deal. So we might say every Tuesday at 2 p.m., we're going to have a call for 30 minutes and that's going to last 10 weeks, right? I like doing it more shorter focused. That way we don't just get on a call and, have an inefficient call. I don't coach just to say I coach and like to fill up time slots. If you tell me, hey, I really want to create a logo and brand for myself, do we have a discovery call? And then the next call is going to be specifically about branding and marketing yourself and creating a logo like we did for Sylvia with the S with the money sign, something as silly as that, to like, okay, here's a task, we accomplished it, let's move on to the next one. And look, I'm never going to run out of ideas or thoughts or stuff about this business because it's obviously a very moving target, but it's really based on what you're looking to achieve.
Okay. Perfect. I mean, wow, glad I ran across you as well. So
I appreciate you taking the time to come on. Again, like at the end of the day,
yeah,
we're all in this together. And I think if I could say something like really right off the heart, not a lot of people care about other people's success, right? They care about their own success. I've already been successful. I've already done all this stuff. So if I could share my knowledge and inspire 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 100,000 people to like not give up on something that they might be great at, that's more than rewarding for me. I could take that.
Well, thank you once again on behalf of all of us. I know we're all just kind of like, we're kind of all like sitting here saying, wow, he took the time. Very few people do that, seriously.
Oh, my pleasure. And again, so you have all my information, feel free to reach out. I'm going to send this recorded video to everyone as well with the links. You guys can go back and replay it, rewatch it, watch it a couple times, pick up on a couple different things, take notes, and I look forward to hearing from you. I look forward to, if you want to explore the discovery call and coaching route, you let me know and we can work on something that's beneficial to both of us.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Jen. Have a wonderful new year. If I don't talk to you, be safe, okay?
Thank you. You too.
Simone, did you have any questions? We haven't heard from you yet.
No, I don't have any questions. Actually, I'm not a licensed loan officer yet. I take my exam in February, so I've just been trying to soak in as much information and find as much resources and help that I can while I
Where are you located?
I'm located in San Diego, California.
Oh, very nice. My graphic designer is in San Diego. And just so you know, NAHREP, NAHREP, National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals, is based out of San Diego. So as soon as you are licensed, you better get your butt in there and start networking.
Great. Thank you so much.
And we better see you every Wednesday at noon as well. If you can make it, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, I will try to make them.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Sylvia, we'll talk offline, but I'm proud of you. Look, don't give up on something. Again, if you have the potential to be great at it. You need a couple, pointers in the right direction. And I'm pretty confident you have all the resources without even knowing it to, succeed in this business if that's what you choose to do. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for attending.
Bye.